Hello and welcome to Modern Barber Upskills. Today's Business Live, we're joined by Alex Burt, the owner of Teddy Edwards Cutting Rooms in Brighton, and we're going to be talking about the countdown to reopening. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Charlotte. How's it going?
Really good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, really good. Thanks for having me on this.
You're very welcome. It's great to be talking about something really positive and really
Yeah.
exciting, such as reopening.
Yay.
So I know for people
Yeah.
listening in Wales and Scotland, these guys are like, Wales is open, Scotland is nearly opening.
I know, right? Yeah.
England's 12th of April, is that right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
12th of April.
I believe Northern Ireland is still TBC, but
Yeah.
fingers that's soon. So yeah, what's the
Yeah.
mood like amongst your
It's
team?
what's the move been like? I think it started off when Boris first announced the 12th. I think the for me personally speaking as well, there was a mixture of like, oh my God, here we go again sort of thing. But now I've had a chance to digest it and process it. It's just like, yeah, buzzing. I just can't wait to get back into it.
Amazing. And has any of your team kind of been on the more, have you got a mix of people that are a bit more cautious about going back, people a bit more skeptical of that date, thinking, oh, I don't know, is it too soon? We want this to be the last lockdown. Like, let's make sure.
Well, funny enough, I thought there was going to be more skepticism about this date because obviously we've been, yeah, as in the industry, we've been sort of mucked about quite a bit over like the last year, especially like with lockdown one.
Yeah.
But this time around, I think everyone's just kind of like unanimous in that, yeah, we are, yeah, good to get back and just get cracking again. I think what we've all sort of discovered amongst ourselves is that we all sort of thrive on that busy like sort of vibe and all the hustle of like sort of like everyday working life and it's just, you know, like for me personally as well, it's like just having that like purpose to get up in the morning and just do what you do best.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you feel like you've lost that? Yeah, how is your sense of purpose at the moment, Alex, if you don't mind me asking such a personal question?
No,
Has
no,
that been
absolutely.
difficult during lockdown for you personally, and then for your team having to kind of lift them up and lift spirits sometimes?
Absolutely. I think that there's definitely you know, especially when it's been like colder and darker and wetter days and you know, I've got two kids as well, so it's not like, you know, you can sort of kind of go and brave the elements on like sort of long walks or whatever. You know, you are stuck within your house to a certain extent,
Mhm.
and so yeah, sort of you know, especially with barbering, it's such a hard business to diversify. You know,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, you know, you can't, you know, you quite literally are, you know, there's a few people out there, you know, there's a few businesses that have started to set up academies, and which I think is a really positive thing. And but yeah, it's always a case of if the bums aren't on the seats, then you can't earn the money. So you know, it's such a hard thing to navigate through. You know, just those really long, cold, dark days, really. But as I say, like now it's starting to lighten up a bit, and
Yeah.
there is like at the end of the tunnel. And
Yeah.
I think having that date of the 12th now has really managed to, I think, sort of kind of bring everybody's focus in. And I spoke to the team last night, quite late last night on a Zoom chat, and yeah, and we're all really looking forward to getting back in the saddle.
I imagine it's kind of like an advent calendar, like countdown.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm
But
also
behind
quite
it,
aware.
sorry,
Yeah,
you
I mean, I'm also no, sorry. It's yeah, I'm also sort of quite aware that it still feels like a long way off, but I know from experience now that because we've been here before that it's just going to go so fast now. So yeah, we're just doing everything that we can to make sure that we're up and ready for when we reopen.
and what sort of practical things are you getting done in preparation?
Well, so we went live we went live yesterday with our bookings. So I've been holding off for as long as I can. But there came a bit of a point with the customers. We were getting so many inquiries as like, you know, come on, are you open? And I was just thought, oh, do you know what? Let's just open up the bookings. So I held off on the first lockdown quite deep into like the opening date and it just went, it was just mental the last time. I think we sold out, I think the first 2 weeks in like the first day and a half or something. It was nuts. This time round, I think it still has been phenomenal. We've shifted quite a staggering amount of appointments. I won't say how much, but yeah, it's been amazing. And so this time I think I'm just being a little bit from experience now. I don't want to load myself up with any more stress than what I need. So yeah, I'm just being a little bit more methodical about things.
Cool, good idea. Oh, that's a phone call from my boss, so I won't accept that live. Sorry, Jane. Okay, back to the talk. Have you got a week by week countdown plan?
Sorry, say that again.
Have you got a week by week kind of countdown plan for reopening?
I wouldn't say a week by week countdown. I mean, I've been on it. In fact, this time round, I'm sort of I'm strangely organised actually this time round. So it's been, yeah, I've been back to work. What I sort of found with the initial lockdown, with this lockdown, was that how can I put this? Yeah, that's a whole sort of sense of purpose. I've really struggled to get myself up in the mornings and motivate myself, and I couldn't get my head into like sort of work mode whenever I needed it. So the biggest thing that's helped me this time around was I've been going back into the shop and just sort of sitting in the empty shop or going into my office at work, as opposed to working from home, and just like sort of doing a few little DIY bits and pieces, making a few calls, stocking up on a few bits and bobs. And that's kind of enabled me to kind of get my mindset back up and running. Yeah. And especially since, I suppose, Monday really has been like the big kind of like sort of shift in my mindset. And now I'm kind of like, right, this is what we need to do, and I'm getting everything in place.
Oh, that's a really good tip, actually, kind of removing yourself from the home place where you've been for years, and like trying to get your head back in the game by going into the barbershop. Or
it's made me fall in love with my business again. I think this time around, I think in order to sort of survive the winter, I almost completely disconnected from work. So like, because obviously we had like our eldest has been homeschooled mainly by my wife, and then our little one, who's nearly 1, she's been obviously a little bit more demanding of attention. So we've been sort of dividing and conquering on that front. And so I was in sort of kind of like full like house mode and like family mode, and going back to work and just sort of sitting there and I was like, crank the music up and get the lights back on, and it's kind of it sort of sparked it back up again in me.
Cool. I know we spoke a little bit about music and playlists, which is going to be in the next issue.
Yeah.
Barber, so that's really good.
Yeah.
I think a couple of the other barbershops I spoke to, everyone like was so excited to like kind of get back into the mood of the barbershop. So I sort of want to create like little playlists or something on Spotify.
I think that'd be wicked.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. And it is all about that mindset. So whether it's like your location, like where you're literally working, or what soundtrack you've got on in the background, all those little things can really help you get back in the kind of business mind.
It's funny when you asked me what to give you like a like my top 10. I was just like, oh god, where do we start? Because I'm sort of not ashamed to admit it, we're absolute music snobs, and to kind of like sort of try and pinpoint like the vibe of like the business sort of into like 10 songs is a bit, oh god, where do we go? But as I started going through them, it started sort of turning up some really good old memories, and just kind of like just some really great moments in the business. And there are certain songs that really sort of transport me back, and it's like, do you know what, I love what I do, and I just sort of feel so blessed that that we can have an environment where we work in, where we can sort of turn up, like whether it's like Rage Against the Machine or James Brown, or it doesn't really matter, do you know what I mean? It's just my big thing has always been is that even though we play music for ourselves, ultimately it's always for the customers. And you always got to try and like find the stuff where the swears aren't in there so much. You got to keep an eye on where there's like sort of mums and kids in there that you don't want to intimidate, or conversely you might have sort of some of the more sort of senior members that come into the shop, and they don't want to be sat there listening to like Anderson .Paak at full volume, so it's kind of finding that nice middle ground where everyone feels comfortable, but it still raises the spirit of the shop.
Yeah, it's a tricky balance, but I think you pretty much nailed it with your playlist.
Yeah, I tried to. And you always got to have a bit of cheese in there. It's always important. Yeah.
Bit of cheesy topping.
Sorry.
Bit of a cheesy topping.
Oh yeah, always got to have a cheesy topping.
So from cheesy topping to PPE.
What, you need the PPE for a cheesy topping, right?
That was a terrible segue, by the way.
I'm quite impressed, actually.
Thank you. So how about your PPE? Like, have you got lots of PPE left over from last time when you were open, or do you have to do order stock? Are you finding any difficulties getting PPE this time because everyone's ordering at the same time?
No, I mean, I've got a bit of a backlog anyway. We got plenty of gloves, we've got plenty of masks. So that was one thing that I feel like I'm a little bit late to the party on this one, but I've actually gone out and got like branded face masks for all the staff now. So we'll be sort of showing them off when we reopen, but nice Teddy Edwards face masks. I just sort of figured it would just be a nice thing to do for the staff. And obviously like with the visors as well. We've got like nice, like sort of like branded ones of those. So it hasn't really been that much of a problem for me this time round. The difference, what we sort of stepped away from that I just didn't really like, was we gave them a go at the beginning, was the plastic hairdressing gowns.
Yeah.
But they were just horrible, especially during the summer. Customers getting sweaty in them, and they just look crap. So I invested in like a huge batch of just like plain black ones, and we just like literally use them on one person, and then they go. So our laundry bills have gone up, but it looks nicer, and we offer a premium service at Teddy's, so we it just it didn't sort of seem logical to put everybody in plastic capes, really.
It's just not a nice experience to get
no
bags
no, it's just horrible all around. It looks crap, and it's just not nice for the customers. So I just sort of figured, just get a huge batch in, and
invest in it.
Invest in it, and it's nicer for everybody involved.
So during this lockdown, have you been able to make any updates to the barbershop? Have you wanted to make any updates from last time after reopening and realizing kind of social distancing measures and layout of the shop and that kind of thing?
Yes, one of the shops, so the Seven Dials branch, not so much, because that was kind of sort of set up almost perfectly for social distancing anyway. Whereas like the Ho Station branch, I sort of like reconfigured all the reception area, so we've sort of made that a lot different, and spaced everybody out. So we were able, because it was a 6-chair shop, what I ended up doing was socially distancing all the staff, and we sort of worked out a system where we could put people in for like longer days but work less days per week. So instead of working like a 5-day week, they were working a 3-day week but still doing the same amount of work.
Okay.
So that seemed to work. But going back, everybody's now just going to be sort of working a standard 5-day week, just because like the hours were getting really long, and we just don't, people's personal lives and their home lives are still more important than work. So we just wanted to sort of get that balance just right.
That's good that you can be really reactive and get feedback from your staff almost instantly. Is that kind of really honest relationship and conversation had there?
It's really important to me to do that, because like I think the whole point of Teddy Edwards right at the very beginning when I first opened was that I wanted to create a barbershop that I always wished that I could have worked in myself. And there was always sort of times in the past when I worked somewhere where I just sort of felt oh, I want to say something, but I can't, you know, or I've got an idea and it would just get poo-pooed. So, you know, like moving for, you know, and I've learned so much over like the last 7 years. I'm a human being. I've made mistakes, and you know, and I've learned from those mistakes. And you know, and sort of moving forward, it's important to me that the staff, you know, if they do have a valid idea, that they can come to me and they can say, look, I think this might work, and we can look at it and give it a go. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, then we can try something else.
Cool. So you said that you're going to have a really overwhelming number of clients coming in the first couple of weeks. What kind of strategies have you got in place aside from the staggered kind of work hours?
Well, I mean, so far, really, we've just been taking a point. So, I mean, like in the last I mean, we've been live 24 hours now, and it's been it's been quite overwhelming already. What I've sort of managed to, I mean, everyone sort of so far seems to be okay. Nobody's like sort of been bombarding me with messages or sort of saying, oh, can you fit us in? And everyone sort of, we've been sort of like drip feeding like a lot of people in already, and then when we went live yesterday, it just kind of it like the bulk of it just went nuts. But yeah, I think we're going to be okay. It's quite it sort of feels like a lot calmer this time round. I think sort of before everyone was just like, oh my god, I need a haircut, whereas this time round it just sort of it feels everyone's a little bit more respectful and a bit more mindful. That was one thing I noticed at the end of the last lockdown. A lot of my staff just sort of felt overwhelmed by customers, just keep bombarding them with text messages and messaging them on social media. And this time around, I think people are a little bit more in tune with like the whole lockdown kind of vibe. And I think people have, a lot of my customers, for example, when I've got in touch with them, they were like, oh, I haven't been in touch because I didn't want to hassle you. And so I think that sort of, it's been nice actually. The atmosphere sort of feels a lot less stressful.
That's really encouraging to hear.
Yeah,
that's really good. And people are kind of, do you think there's a case that people have been like, it's lockdown, I'm gonna have long hair and it's gonna look a little ropey, but I've got to go with it and things like that?
I think 100%. I think people are definitely rolling with it a lot more. And it was great to see. You know, there's a lot of my customers have started coming in and they've sort of stepped away from the skin fades and they're having sort of more sort of scissor work, and that's great. You know, there's, you know, I mean, originally I was trained as a hairdresser, so it's nice to sort of kind of get back and start doing some more sectioning and layering work and things like that, and stepping away from the skin fades. Not that there's anything wrong with that, obviously, but it's just nice to be able to sort of mix it up and explore new avenues with your customers of like, what their hair is capable of doing.
Yeah, that's nice. And you can kind of flex different skills and use different skill sets.
Yeah, and a lot of the staff as well are kind of like formerly hairdresser trained as well. So that sort of played to our strengths massively. You know, that I sort of feel that it's been funny, like with the explosion of barbering, there's been so many people that have just gone straight into clippering without having like a true understanding of structure and shape. And it's really nice to sort of have a team that is capable of like meeting the demands of what people want nowadays. Yeah,
that's really great, because it does seem like it's been in the last, definitely during lockdown, definitely a trend for longer hair and people wanting to keep that length after lockdown. So
absolutely.
It's great that your barbershop can kind of sing its skills and phrases of those kind of cuts.
And it is funny how like sort of people they do sort of like ask us funny questions sometimes. They're like, oh, can you do long hair? Or like, oh, I was thinking of this, can you do this? And you're like, yeah, of course we can. And it's funny how many men sort of still go to like a ladies salon because they want something longer. Mm-hmm. And they just think that going to a barbershop, they're just going to get all their hair cut off, you know. And it's you know, and you know, when you do talk to people, they're like, oh, you can do that then. You're like, well, yeah, of course. Like, yeah, we're all, you know, trained professionals. You know, this is what we do.
So other than longer hair and nicer customers, how do you think it's going to be different reopening this time to the other times that you've reopened after lockdown?
I think this time round it feels, I think people are a little bit more appreciative of what they've got. I think there's definitely feels like there's been a lot more soul searching going on this time rounds than there was the last time. I think the last time, yeah, it was the summer. You know, it was easy just to sort of kind of like get out and enjoy the sunshine and, you know, sort of have barbecues and drink beer. Whereas this time it's like you've just been locked with yourself, you know, and so I think people this time round coming out of this one are going to be, I think, just a lot more mindful and a lot more appreciative of what they've had and what they've still got.
Yeah. And I guess you've got really into the groove of locking down and then reopening. So you know exactly what it is you need to do from a business perspective to get things moving. You work, I know you said you're not going to be working the longer hours. Have you got an idea of how many hours you are going to work in that first week? Are you going to do what some barbershops did last time of like 24-hour opening? And
no, I'm not. No, we're not doing that. Last time, even just for a bit of fun, I opened up at midnight, and it damn near killed me. It absolutely ruined me. And I was just but I think my problem is that like I just always like throw myself at stuff like with full force, and this time I'm sort of just like trying to hold myself back. I don't want to suffer from burnout again, and you know, and I especially don't want that for my staff either. So I just want everybody just to sort of ease back into it nice and gently. One of my staff members was just like, oh, I just feel really daunted at just like, you know, like the workload that's coming, because obviously everyone's facing, for example, in the first week, you know, both shops are fully booked already, and to you know, so that can feel like quite a daunting prospect, but actually it's like, look, you know, we're doing normal hours, you know, everyone's got their lunch breaks in, and it's just like, look, let's look after our kind of mental well-being. That's the main focus, and you know, and we'll roll with it. It'll be fine.
That's really good to hear, and it kind of reminds me of the analogy of it being a marathon, not a sprint. It's kind of
absolutely. Yeah, and it's funny. I think experience definitely teaches you that. You know, especially having like two kids as well. You know, like my energy and my sleep levels are hugely important. So the last thing I want to do is like get home and just be like a zombie. You know, I want to enjoy all the time that I get with my kids, and you know, I've been blessed that I've been able to spend that amount of time with my family. You know, like that is the one positive that I can draw out of the whole lockdown, is that I've you know, been lucky enough to spend, you know, all this time with them. So yeah, it's all about perspective really, in my mind.
Oh, that's an amazing point to end the session on, I feel. Thank you so much, Alex, for your time. I really appreciate it.
No, my pleasure.
And best of luck for reopening, and I know we'll speak before then.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thanks ever so much for all your time, Charlotte, and yeah, good luck with everything, and yeah, we'll hope to see everybody soon.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Take care. Bye.